Nobody's coming to save you. So you build and grind and you rise. From struggle to breakthrough. From pressure to legacy. These are raw, unfiltered stories of entrepreneurs, leaders, and dreamers who refuse to quit. Welcome to No Rescue. Sponsored by Prado. No Rescue family, welcome back to another episode. I'm super excited for this one because this is somebody who I consider a friend, a good friend. Because we've known each other now, Ian, for what, 4 years? 4 or 5 years? Is that when we met? Mastermind?
Yeah, yep.
We'll dive in that a little bit. But Ian Horowitz, $100 million in his asset portfolio of storage space, as well as he is now into the CPG game. So serial entrepreneur. Ian, thanks for being here, bro.
Yeah, man, dude, thanks for having me out. I just, I know we rolled out of the golf course a little bit ago, and I still can't get over the sights. It's a beautiful, beautiful countryside you have here.
Yeah. Well, Utah, it's a sleeper, man. People don't know. It's like all 4 seasons here. You got mountain, you got winter, you got summer. So it's a beautiful place to be, bro.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of people, I slept on it. Because the first time I came out here, I'm like, I'm going to Salt Lake, like this little podunk gas city or something, And then I get out here, I'm like, I know that brand, I know that brand, I know that brand. And like, I came back now a few years later and it's just insane the amount of business you guys have here, bro. Like, it's insane.
I tell people all the time, it's kind of a hidden Mecca of entrepreneurship. Like, there's just a lot of people. And we've had a great networking session since you've been here.
Yeah, man.
And we met with Danny. We met with a few other people, Sean. You've met some killers while you're here. So, and you yourself are a killer. So I appreciate you being here in the time, dog. So,
yeah, man. I'm happy to do it. So.
Love it. Well, I'm excited because we obviously went over a ton of gas, a ton of business gas when we were hitting pins, which was a blast. But we love to kind of sit down on these to kind of dive into really the mindset of the entrepreneur, right? I heard a quote once that said that, more important than knowing what successful people do, it's actually understanding how they think, right? It's not doing what they do, it's thinking how they think, right? And so in the No Rescue portion of this podcast, we really just want to get to know you, brother, right? And you have an incredible story. So I'm really excited to kind of dive into it.
Yeah, man. I'm an open book, as you know. So I guess we'll see where this conversation goes, how much I weave, how much I don't weave, keep me on track. But you know me, I'm an open book. I'm happy to share because, I had a lot of success. I picked up a lot of information from a lot of other people, and I feel as though it's appropriate to give it back. And I think a lot of people can do it and get out there and go and grind.
I love it, brother. So let's start. I love to start from the beginning because I feel like obviously like entrepreneurship, it's not a destination, it's a journey. And there's a lot of things that happen in your life that you develop skills and things like of that nature to be able to arrive to where you are today, right? And so I want to start really like little Ian, right? Tell me about like how you grew up, where you grew up, what that looked like, what that dynamic looked like, and we'll start there.
Yeah, I grew up, I was born in Jersey, grew up outside of Philadelphia. I claim Philly as home. My parents were together for the first portion of my childhood, I guess you would say, probably till I was about 12. And then they split up, and it was a very tumultuous divorce, a lot of yelling, screaming, a lot of getting blamed. My dad had health issues, just a lot of having to step up and be the father to my younger brother. And I don't ever really share this, so like we're just gonna kick it off right into it. But yeah, dude, like it was a very like rough childhood. Just I would work just to stay out of the house.
Yeah,
I remember being 16 years old, taking on 3 jobs just so I never had to be home. It was like one of those like work was like I guess almost my therapy, and I just always enjoyed. I don't know, man. I just always enjoyed the process of like making money, whether it was working for someone or trying to learn entrepreneurship, which we'll get into in a minute. But like, I just remember at an early age, like I remember my first paycheck just going like, damn, dude, like $4.50 an hour. I got to work really hard to become a millionaire. You know what I mean? So like it's, I think a lot of work, like I relied on work to stay out of my
kind of an escape.
Is an escape. Yeah, like, I played sports.
Yeah.
I did other activities. I was in scouts, stuff like that. For whatever reason, man, work, just like putting your effort into something was like that was it, dude. That's like what made me tick.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
What, early on, what were some of the jobs that you started? Like, cause obviously I tell people this all the time. I don't know many real estate people that actually grew up, like knew they wanted to be in real estate when they were little. I didn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like, what was that for you? Like, what were I know it was an escape, but was there?
yeah, dude, I worked all kinds of jobs. I worked on a farm. I did
Okay.
everything from serving ice cream in their ice cream shop to shoveling shit out on the farm to selling Christmas trees in the wintertime.
Yeah.
I worked at McDonald's. I worked at pumping gas at a gas station, washing windows, checking customers out. And then, a little bit, as I got a little bit older, pretty much the only thing, I wound up working at a hockey rink and drove the Zamboni, but like, I just like really worked wherever, worked construction, stuff like that. But early childhood, it was, 16 to 18, whoever will hire you.
Yeah.
Back then, shit, I'm that old now. I can say back then, I had to go to the newspaper, look for the job.
Oh man, classified section.
Got to go fill out the application in person. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. I was always infatuated by it, and I don't know why. Now with real estate though, I do want to say, like one of my fondest family memories of like my family actually almost being together as a family was playing Monopoly. And I don't know if that's like where my real estate kick came from, but dude, I love getting those cards. I love building the houses. I love mowing them over, putting hotels on them. But that was the closest thing I ever got to real estate anywhere in my early career.
Yeah.
This podcast is sponsored by Prado. With Prado, taste comes first, but trust follows. It's clean, it's grass-fed, and it's made with standards you can feel. This is protein for people who expect more. Bougie, not basic.
Well, and it's funny because there was probably some correlation because that by far was my favorite childhood like game, right?
Yeah.
And it gives you a little touch of entrepreneurship. In hindsight, I'm sure now, right? And we talked about this on the golf course, right? Those jobs taught you a lot, I'm sure, right? Maybe not necessarily in terms of skill sets of like, how to understand a P&L or this, that, the other, or things that are required later in life to be an entrepreneur, but really grit and I mean, just working hard. Like it's super valuable, right?
Yeah, it's grit, it's responsibility, it's trying to work up the food chain to be in the ladder. At 16, I'm going, well, I should be managing the ice cream shop. You know what I mean? Like that's what's going to my head. Oh, hey, can you run the Christmas tree stand? Yeah, I'm going to figure this all out. I would come in on Black Friday and I'd help them get all the trees off the truck. It was almost like it was my own, So like, having the jobs like gives you some sort of structure. I can't say that I was ever mature enough in my life to be like, I was dead set on entrepreneurship. I had a lot of learning and a lot of maturity to take on, but those early jobs, they teach you responsibility. They teach you accountability. You got practice for hockey or you got to go work. Well, either A, you need to find a swap.
Yeah.
Right? You need someone to cover your shift. Hey, can you work my Wednesday? I'll work a double on Saturday. Or you have to be non-committed to your hockey team and you need to figure out how to say, hey, coach, I can't make it on Wednesday because I have to work because I can't survive. And, at that age, most people are pretty clued in to what your home life's like.
Yeah.
So the coach is probably new. But in the same sense, it's like, you're in one way or shape or another, you're giving up on someone. So if you want to be a part of that team, well, I would take whatever swap I could. I didn't care if I had to work doubles, whatever. So I wanted to be a part of something over here. So I think that's what it teaches you.
Love it. So then that begs the question kind of, you're 16, you're working all these jobs and we're going to get to this, but you're an ex-firefighter, right? And we'll get to that. But when was your first touch of entrepreneurship? Like, was it post you being a firefighter and jumping into real estate? Because we'll touch on that story. But did you have any early inklings of like really wanting to become an entrepreneur or really wanting to kind of take that bet on yourself? Or was that not until later?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. I did the paper route thing.
Yeah.
From when I graduated high school, I had an opportunity to start a landscaping company and I had zero maturity whatsoever, but I did have it. I did do something with it. I kept it for 7 years. I sold it before I became a fireman, and I can't say it was run correctly. It was a whole mess, but I did do it, right?
Yeah.
Like I was out there grinding grass accounts, not really understanding how to the who's, not the how's, just whatever. I don't really understand, but I could go out there and grind and make money. So I did have a landscaping company while working. It's funny, we were talking about cutting the cord. I still had the cord at the hockey rink. Just as a backup, and I would plow snow. But it was more that I needed money to take care of my brother and my dad and pay rent and all these other things that an 18-year-old kid probably, or 17-year-old kid, whatever, shouldn't be worried about. But I had to, and I felt obligated to give my brother a similar, somewhat decent childhood that I had. So a lot of that came from that. And so that was my earliest form of entrepreneurship. I can't say, I'm going to kind of skip ahead. I wound up taking the job at the fire department because my dad winds up passing away. We can go dig back into this, but I needed stability in my life, dude.
Yeah.
Like I keep bringing up the word maturity because now I can look back and say I was immature through a lot of these things. But for me, it was a maturity level. I had all the right inner workings to this landscaping company. My in-laws owned a lawnmower shop. I was getting free leads all the time. I had all these things. I just couldn't put the pieces together because my home life was so messed up. Yeah. Right. Then my dad passes away and I went to the fire department. The fire department actually probably gave me the lift and responsibility and cash flow I needed to then come back and figure something out later.
Yeah. You know, what's so interesting about that is like in hindsight and it's always 2020 when you look back, right? Like I look at my business and what we've done and, you know, really the resources that are needed to have built what I built now, I actually had them for a long time, right? And to your point, it speaks to this maturity. Until you have the wherewithal, the maturity, the paradigm to be able to like assemble those resources in a way that's sustainable to create a product that's valuable at market, like you really can't. But people don't realize that, you know, now I think that's the superpower of being in entrepreneurship is you just realize like you can create things. Right? Like
100% you can create things. And I think most people do have everything at their fingertips. And it comes down to they're too comfortable. They want to blame somebody else. They don't want to step up and be like, damn, dude, I have all these things. Let me just go do it. And I think that's a problem. We can get into a society debate later. I know this is more about me and having that conversation, but it truly is, right? We've talked about it a few times now. It's like, I think at 18, if I would have went to a coaching program, right?
Yeah.
And said, hey, I want to learn real estate. I would have been that pain in the butt for the coach. Be like, yeah, this kid's got grit and determination, but he's messed up. He can't figure it out, right?
100%.
And I think now looking back on it and realizing and learning from your mistakes and being able to step up and say, okay, I tried this once before, it didn't work. Why didn't it work? Let me go back and do it again and try it again. I think that's what's important. I think a lot of people miss that opportunity. Most people say, I'm given a second opportunity, but I failed the first time, so I'm just not going to do it.
100%.
And maybe having kids and watching my kids battle through something, I don't know what it is, but that's what I see now. And maybe it's just trying to help other people and they don't ever want to step up and do it.
Yeah. Like when you're starting in business, people don't realize it is literally 80% effort and like just mindset. Like,
dude, it's a war. It's a war.
100%.
It is straight up a war. And most people aren't built for it, dude.
100%.
That is what it comes down to. And it's like, I'm going to skip out of real estate for a second. Hey, you're starting an energy drink company. What's wrong with you? Okay, well, dude, I know this. I'm going to battle. I'm going to war. I'm going to put all the pieces in place and I'm going to have the army around me and we're going to go and grind it out and do it. It's the same thing with real estate in the early days. It's the same thing really with the landscaping company. If I look back at it, I was at war. I was doing a lot of what I needed to, but I was taking mass casualties on the other side and it wasn't sustainable.
Yeah.
Right. And most people, again, they just give up. I see it in real estate all the time. I would see it in Baltimore a lot because we had really good economics. You get these people come down from New York. They come up from DC. The returns are great. I'm like, okay, but it's a tough city, dude.
Yeah.
And they would get in there and they'd be like, they're throwing money at their problems rather than getting up there and going to war and going to fight and holding people accountable and doing that. And I think once you have the ability to hold people accountable and holding yourself accountable, that's the gas that you need to get to that next level.
That's also what keeps people from doing it is they're just not willing to take that bet. They're not willing to get uncomfortable. They're too scared to risk what they feel like is their safety net, right?
Yeah, and I think in the early days with the landscaping company, I didn't have anything else, dude.
Yeah.
Like, my dad's like literally on his deathbed, no money coming in. My mom's like still cursing at the guy because they're fighting over a divorce. And I didn't speak to her. So there's no money coming in there. I had nothing. And it's like either I produce or I'm on the street.
Yeah.
Right. And I can't say that I was ever homeless. I always found a way to make a few bucks or camp out at my girlfriend or my now wife's house. But in the end, it's like I didn't have anything to lose. And I think that's what a lot of people get scared of is like once they have that job, they're like, well, I don't want to lose that job. Like I work so hard. They get this identity crisis. I had it with the fire department when I quit. But really, it's like you need to go in there and you need to go battle, dude. You need to say, this is it. Like if I want to do this, I want to bet on myself. I said it on the golf course. My man, Terry, the number one thing he said to me is, what, you don't want to bet on yourself? And I'm like, I am betting on myself. And it's like, and it still lives with me to this day. It's like, damn, what if I would have bet on myself earlier? What would this look like, dude? Like, I don't.
100%.
I kind of vaguely remember Stratton telling you that.
Yeah.
Almost in a way when we were here at the first place we ever met. He said, come on, Lama, you got to go out there and grind. Like, you got this, dude. You're 100%. A killer. You're like, oh, yeah, whatever. And then fast forward a few years later, like, this place is sick, dude.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you did the bet.
Dude, I appreciate it. And it's so funny you say that because, like, and I will live and die by this. I think the most dangerous amount of money that you can make is 200 to 400 grand. Because once you live in that world, suddenly people think they have they have income that it's at risk. And the reality of it is if you're making 200, if you're making sixes in a W-2, you're good enough to find another job if you have to, right? It may not be, if you're leaving a $300,000 executive W-2, sure, you may, if you're out a year, you may come back and make half the salary. But point being is like, people don't realize they really don't have that much to lose. Like,
right.
It's
even at that, you're trusting someone else to keep the lights on.
100%.
Right? And a lot of businesses in America are small businesses. But look at my situation, which we'll get into here in a second. In the fire department, I'm working for a city that's a step above Detroit, and they're literally vanishing and they're bankrupting pensions across the country. So you're telling me I'm gonna sit here and work for 25 years
and trust that.
To trust this. We don't pay Social Security, and at the end of 25 years, beaten, battered, broken, could have died God knows how many times, it goes bankrupt. Then what, dude?
Yep.
I'd rather go bankrupt on my own, battling every single day, trying to figure it out.
Yep.
And if I did go bankrupt, if I did have an issue, I'm getting up the next morning and I'm doing it again. I'm putting my pants on, right?
Yep.
And I think I told you in the car, from the golf course over to here, or maybe over there today, it's like, I like laugh. It's like, yeah, some days it sucks, dude. Like, entrepreneurship is not easy. Everyone thinks it's super easy. It's not. It is a grind. And there's some days, I'll admit to it, dude, I'm done.
Want to quit?
Throw my hands up.
Multiple
I'm done.
days.
I don't know what to do. I go home, hang out with the kids. I go play softball with the girls, whatever it is. And usually by that, like, within an hour, I'm like, all right, what are we doing, dude? Like, I got to fix something. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, turn it back on. Let's go. Like, and I think most people just give up on that.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, to that point, like I feel like this is such an incredible topic to talk about because I think it is what, that mental clarity is, I think, what defines really the top 1% earners from everybody else, because there's just a lot of people that aren't willing to take that bet, to take that risk, and to bet on themselves. And really what you do is you give yourself permission to operate, right? Like, and we've talked about this, right? And I feel like these are reoccurring things, but it's because these are so valuable. It's like, you have to give yourself permission by burning the boat. Like, you literally have to, and I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of your upbringing, the firefighter job, like a lot of that, like, it kind of prepared you to eventually, when you did make the decision to bet on yourself and burn that boat, it kind of puts you in a different mode, right? Like,
but the day I burned the boat, I'm laughing. It's a funny story. Is the next morning I woke up, I felt 50 pounds lighter. All the weight was off my shoulder, and we tripled our business, dude. We already had 300, 400 homes, whatever it was. Like, we had a gigantic portfolio, and we tripled our business within a year, dude. Like, we went ham, dude. Like, we went at it. And I don't think I ever could have done it with the fire department. Like, we needed cash. We needed to perform. We needed to go. I had to do my thing, right? So I think by relieving that pressure and burning the boat, I don't think people realize how much weight they carry with them at their W-2 job and take it home. You're beefing with your wife because it's cash flow problems, because you don't make enough money at your job. You're beefing with your wife because you have stress at home. At least if I beef with my wife, it's my own stresses and I can control them, 100%. Right? I got to get my TPS report done by Monday. Office Space reference for those that are old enough. But yeah, dude, I think being in control of your own destiny is like what it's all about. And really, it's not even about money. True wealth is time freedom. Yeah.
So I want to come back a little bit to your career. Let's talk about like your old career. Like, so you're with the fire department. How long were you with them?
It was just under 15 years. I got hired in 2008 on the backside of the financial crisis, or the beginning of the financial crisis, and got hired in 2008. And I stayed till basically the end of 21. Just before 22, I left. So
not that long ago.
Yeah.
And what's insane about it is, because, in my line of work, right, I get a lot of people, and it's sad. I get a lot of people that at the end of their career life, like they're at 30 years, and they always come to me and they're like, Lame, this is what I have for retirement. And it's wild because people don't do the math.
Yeah.
They do not do the math. And it breaks my heart because they come to me 60 years old. They worked for 30 years. They did everything right of what their wealth advisor, what their retirement account person told them to do. And now they're here at the end of their life and all they got is $500,000, even called $1 million. Like, good luck living on that the next 20 years. You know what I mean? And so luckily for you, something had to have happened for you to finally, I don't know if you did the math or if what happened with you being a firefighter for you to finally be like, I got to control my own destiny.
Look, it was a dream job. It's all I wanted to do. I literally moved because I couldn't get hired in Philadelphia. I moved to Baltimore City to go be a fireman. I'm going to be a fireman in a place that goes to fires. I get to do my job. If you ever watched The Wire, that's where I worked. It's all true. If you ever watched the riots that happened, it's all like
that's
where
wild.
Where we were in the thick of it, right?
Yeah.
But 2008, I get hired. I went over this a little bit earlier, but they start messing with our pension. Pension systems are going bankrupt across the country. And I distinctly remember just sitting around the kitchen table, listening to guys that got 30, 40 years. Hey, you're going to go retire. Hey, Lieutenant so-and-so, you're retiring. What are you going to go do? Like, where are you going to go travel the world? Like, tell me. Like, I'm all excited. I'm going to go work at Walmart. I'm going to go work at Home Depot. I'm like, what? They're like, well, I can't really afford to retire, but I'm gonna. I'm like, this doesn't even make sense. So you got all these bad things happening. I hear this story. My wife wants to have kids. I'm going, dude, the daycare is more than a mortgage payment.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at how much I make, whopping 60, 70 grand a year. And I'm like, can't do it. So, and on top of that, there was no overtime because they started cutting positions. So there was no overtime available. So all these things are happening. And I'm like, well, I can't work overtime. I can't promote. My wife wants to have kids. Detroit's going bankrupt. California's going bankrupt. Pension systems nationwide are just belly up going bankrupt. And I'm going, I have got to at least secure my retirement. Right.
Yeah.
So I was like, if I can buy, kind of fast forward a little bit, but if I could buy 10 houses and they're worth $1 million and they're paid off, and I make a couple grand a month, I was like, yo, dude, I'm set, bro. And that's all I could think. And that was it. It was just like locked in on the mission. And, a little bit before, actually right before I left for the fire department, during the global crisis, right before it, my wife qualified for a no-doc loan, bought a rental house. We got a line of credit. I was kind of pressing her to like, hey, let's go buy more houses. And she's like, no, I got this line of credit. Her dad kind of wound up using it for his business. And we never really bought anything else. So that was kind of like, I knew I wanted to do that. They had a couple customers that came in to buy lawnmowers. And one year, the one guy didn't come in. And they're like, hey, you didn't come get your lawnmowers this year. He's like, yeah, I've been buying a rental house.
Yeah.
1 year for the last 30 years. I got 30 rental houses paid off free and clear. It's all Section 8. And I was like, what is that? Like, that's what I want to do. Like, sign me up. Tell me more. You get money from the government.
Yeah.
I don't have to be like a true landlord. Like, maybe I got some help. And that was really like what got my mind going, all this pressure, and then hearing that story at the same exact time.
Yeah. And then Terry, right? And
Terry came a little later in some masterminds. I had to do some deals before he could press me on that.
Yeah.
But even all this is going on, and dude, the universe, some people call it God, some people call it the universe. I'm a universe type guy. Dude, things just start landing in my lap, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I really want to do this. I really want to do this. I start reading all the books. Boom. Hey, man, after work, I'm going to this meetup event. You want to go? Yeah, dude, sure, cool. It's about real estate. We get there. The lady's trying to do one of them Ponzi scheme, multi-level marketing things for selling electric or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, it's so stupid. But she baited everyone in with this guest speaker who had like 200 Section 8 houses in Baltimore. I was like,
oh, wow.
Yo, dude, this is it. Like, this guy's here. Yo, what's going on? And I was like, hey man, you want to go to the bar, grab a drink afterwards? I didn't know my man enjoyed the sauce a little bit, but we connected, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, you call me anytime. I love firemen. You need anything, you call me. Waited a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Hey man, I'm interested. And he's like, all right, come out. So I went out, rode around with him. He's like, all right, if you're real, like if I ever find anything, I'll let you know. I didn't know shit. I was like, hey man, I'm real. Like I want to do this. He's like, all right, found a house, and boom, probably within not even 60 days of saying I wanted to do it, we had a house locked up and all. That was it. We were gone.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. And that was the start of it, huh?
That was it. It was. He brought me my first house. I paid $25,000 for it. I wasn't keeping books or nothing.
Yeah.
I was doing all the work myself. Maybe I put 25, 30 grand into it. I was maybe all in 50 grand, and I was getting $1,250 rent from Section 8, and there was no tenant payment. So I was getting $1,250 straight up from the government. I was like, yo, this is butter. Even with my hard money loan that I took out at 15 and 5, I didn't know any better. Well, the reason I was paying 15 and 5 because my credit score was still sub 600.
Yeah.
I still had a bunch of debt. I don't ask why I had 15 grand saved up. I had all these bills to pay. And all I did, dude, I worked on the house, and the days I couldn't work on the house and I wasn't working in the fire department, I'd go work side work and just produce whatever cash I could to pay off my bills, to get my credit score up, to then get a loan to pay this hard money lender off. I had 2 houses under my belt before I knew how I was ever going to refinance them with like a 570 credit score, dude. Straight up. God's honest truth, dude. God's honest truth.
I love it, man.
But what's the fail? Dude, what's the backstop? The backstop was, F it, I'm going to go bankrupt anyway. My credit's torched. Who cares?
100%.
I'm going to work this 30-year
hard
career.
reset, and you're back to where you started. You know what I mean?
I'm going to be a fireman for the next 30 years. Who cares?
Well, dude, and you bring up a really important principle, right? Like, I heard once that, I can't remember who said it, but they're like, sometimes your superpower early on is just being dumb enough to not know any better and do it.
Blinders,
like,
dude.
Like I think back on like when we started our business, and I'm like, I'm looking at myself in third person. I'm like, yeah, he's gonna fail. Yeah. This dude's gonna fail. And like but like when you're there, you just you have those blinders. They become your superpower, right? Yeah. You just keep one foot in front of the other, and you just figure it out, right?
I tell people all the time. It was like, dude, if you ask me how I did it, I have no clue. I tell people all the time, I was out of my mind, dude. I was out of my mind. I had blinders on, but you know what? What's funny is, and again, this goes back to the universe and manifesting and everything else. That you guys can call it foo-foo. I don't care what you say. I distinctly remember living in my buddy's basement because my wife was still in Philly. We didn't really know where we were going to live. I was rooming in his basement, and I remember writing down, I will retire the fire department before I'm 40. You know when I left? 39 years old, dude. Yeah. 39 years old, I left. Yeah. Yeah. How is that possible, dude?
Yeah.
The universe knows. I'll tell you another one. I was in a fishing tournament, and I said I'd catch a winning fish in the fishing tournament that was worth 70 grand. This is so far off topic. I want to beat Michael Jordan. I just want to let you know. But I wrote that down, and on the last day, at the last hour, we hooked up to a fish that was worth $70,000 and chopped a pot with Michael Jordan.
Oh, my God.
The universe knows. If you put it down, you write it down, you know what your goals are, you know what your vision is. Dude, you know. Some people pray. Some people write it down. Some people meditate. Some people just got to speak it into existence. Whatever your MO is, go do it, dude.
100%. The journey is in the development of what you become in order to get that thing, right? Mm-hmm. Like, and I feel like that's, you're really articulating that over and over, which is, in my opinion, an internal principle in entrepreneurship. There's a few parts of your story that I really want to focus on and highlight, right? Because the first one is you had, some of these struggles in childhood. You learned the grit, you learned determination, commitment through those. And then you had your firefighter job, right? You kind of see the math writing on the wall. And then you jump full-time into real estate, after your buddy Terry, right? Mm-hmm. I'm sure the struggles didn't stop there, right? So talk to me about some of the early struggles of building your 9-figure portfolio, right?
Yeah, I mean, the early struggles are pretty simple, dude. You don't know what's coming next, right? Like I had 10 houses on my own. At the time, I was working on my own. My business partner approaches me currently today. It's like, hey, I want to do a house together. I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't know. I don't really want to flip houses.
Yeah.
And we turned that into something to what it is today. And it was, if you want to ask all the trials and tribulations, I didn't know how to account, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like we figured out how to run the books, how to raise capital. Yeah, we've raised $20 million to date. It's like, well, some dumb broke fireman's figured out how to raise $20 million bucks, right? Like that's insane. But in the same sense, it's like you don't know the problems until they come up, and there's only one way to put them out, and that's to just work at it. And I think one of the biggest learning lessons from the fire department is let's just say this building's on fire.
Yep.
we cannot leave until this thing is put out and deemed safe and investigated. If there's a fire burning in your business, i.e. a problem, we were really good at saying, well, this fire's burning, we need to put it out. And we were dumb enough to get up every single day and continue to try to put it out until it was resolved, right? Yeah. We did the same thing over. And that's what I tell people. We were just dumb enough to do it over and over and over again. It's about repetition, right? Yeah. Like, I'm not really good at working out, right? I'm just not, unless there's a trainer there. So I know for me to have to work out, I go see a trainer every day. If you can't get up and do what you need to do, you need to go find a Joe. You're very lucky, right? Like she probably keeps your ass in line, right?
100%.
Right? You need to find that inside your business. But it also starts with like, you need to motivate yourself. I know I've gotten off topic again, but I get very passionate about it because it's like, well, what problems did I have? I didn't know how to raise capital. We weren't bank financeable, right? I know you're Mr. Creative, but I'm the complete opposite. I'm Mr. Traditional. Yeah. And it took a business partner to show us the way to say, this is how you build. I didn't know what a PFS was. I was like, and Google, couldn't really Google stuff, right? So I was like, oh, okay, what's that, man? Personal financial statement. I'm like, oh boy, like, what do you, I got nothing, dude. I got some of this, but I don't really have any cash because I keep putting it back into this. He's like, no, that's good. Like, so you learn about personal financial statements. I didn't know about taxes and depreciation. It's funny talking to you about raising capital, the depreciation piece. It's like, I didn't know any of that, right? And it's just, you just learn as it comes up and you figure out how to resolve. And I think that's who determines who's going to be successful and who's not.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people have this facade that like going into entrepreneurship, like, we have these like master plans to be able to execute. And the reality of it is you're figuring it out along the way. I mean, I don't know a single entrepreneur that hasn't built something special where they're legitimately building the plane while they're flying it. You know what I mean?
Correct.
And like, and really, and then it once you build the plane and you know how to build the plane, the next plane's a lot easier, right?
But you can't even build the plane because you don't have the blueprint, right? Like 100%. You don't have the steel to build it. Yeah. So that's like my whole thing. It's like, I mean, dude, you probably go to enough events, you see the same people over and over again. You're like, that guy's. So I distinctly remember there was a guy at all the local meetups.
Number one fan. Yeah.
He had a pocket protector with all his pencils and pens.
100%.
The guy's name was Steve. Finally, I was like, Steve, so how much is real estate you? And I see you at all these events. Well, I'm still waiting to find the right deal. And I'm like, bro. Like, I'm not going to be that guy,
100%.
And I think that's the thing is that like it's like having kids. There is no right time.
Yeah.
But you're going to figure out there's no manual to having kids and raising them.
Yeah.
There are some manuals to running businesses, but I promise you, whoever's book you read, you're going to internalize it. And not every principle is going to apply. And you need to figure out what works for you.
1000%.
And you can't figure that out until you actually go do deals.
Yep. And the best teacher in anything is experience, right?
1,000.
And like it's to your point, it's like you can't read yourself into a business, right? Yep. And again, that's the big curse of a lot of these wantrepreneurs that are just dreaming, right? So,
yeah. Oh, it's easy to dream.
Yeah. So you transitioned from Firefighter into building your portfolio. You did it in a crazy amount of time. Right. And then you transition, and I have to give a shout out here because now you're taking everything that you've learned from building this and you built shout out, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Not any energy drink. The energy drink. That's right. The energy drink. So absolutely, you're killing it. Like I remember when you called me and it was just an idea, right? And now here you are. 1,000 stores later, close some big deals. Like you're moving, you're pumping. Like talk to me about this journey, especially like the contrast between starting and now I feel like maximizing, right? You build your first business and then you go into the second one. Like talk about that journey.
Well, I don't think you can build the second business. And, there's a lot of like notion out there. And I don't know, Hermosi's very like one trick pony. Other people are 7-stream ponies, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I probably lean towards Horowitz. Like we've done real estate at a high level. We've built a team. I mean, I'm in Utah for 3 days. We've had a pretty big issue occur that we had to fire an employee, and it was a simple text, but our main operations manager was like, no, I want to get on a phone call and discuss this. So we discussed it, and we said, yes, you're taking all the right steps. But really, the firing of an employee, it all happens. Yeah. You can't build the second stream until you figured out the first stream, right? And people would sit there and debate me and say, well, you have storage and you have office and you have residential, you have different streams. Like, no, they're all real estate, right? Like we're doing the same thing. And I think this brand, the energy drink, would not exist without having that build out platform, the investment vehicle, this arm that we have. So being able to start the energy drink occurs because we have a great team on the other side of the house. You can't have this podcast without having a great team behind you that you know we're going to sit here for 5 hours between everything that we're doing. You're gone for 5 hours. You're completely off grid. Like your portfolio still needs to run. So I'm very, very thankful for the team that we have, that we've built, and the operation that we built. Now, starting the next thing, what I think is very interesting is I just sat here and told everybody, go swing the bat, don't be a scared little bitch. But like in the same sense, I was like, yeah, dude, I don't know, man. Like, this is crazy. Like we're not doing this. Like we're just going to flush money down the toilet. But we kind of had a little head start. I always had this like little viral page geared towards first responders. It's a really dumb page. Most people are going to go look at it. It's called Brotherhood Buffs. It's just a bunch of dudes yelling at fire trucks. Don't ask, but it was silly. It was simple. And we never sold the page anything. Like we never violated our trust with the fans on that page. And I would send my intern out because I thought I was going to do the real estate coaching thing, because it was like, oh, okay, what's next? Like, I think we all climbed the mountain, and then it's like, okay, well, there's the downslope, and I feel like I'm going in the valley of death, but like, and we're all looking for that next mountain to climb.
100%.
And I thought I was going to do real estate coaching. I ran a mastermind for a minute, but it just wasn't my MO. Like I enjoyed it. I enjoyed curating the room, but I don't know, man. I was just like, I like the guys. I love them. But in the same sense, it's like, I don't need to make money off my friends. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, let's kill that. But I had him there to film. I sent him out every day to go buy an energy drink, and kudos to him. He was like, hey man, you should start your own energy drink company. And I was like, oh, that's crazy, bro. No. And cause like when you think, if I told you, I'll tell you how much it costs that we outlaid to start it. But like, if I told you, hey man, I'm going to start an energy drink company, what would you put budget wise?
Budget wise, I don't know, 50 grand.
Okay. I thought you would maybe said 6 figures, but still we did it on 20 grand. Like we did it on a super short budget.
Yeah.
And it was like, dude, I'm flushing 20 grand down the toilet, right? But again, I guess this goes back to the grit and determination of trying to figure it all out. Is like, it still was like really like, it was massive risk aversion.
Yeah.
Because I was scared because it was the unknown. And I'm sitting there going, well, wait a second. We're successful elsewhere. If the pieces fall and it's meant to be, they'll show themselves.
Yeah.
I said, go find a formulator. He's like, all right. Hey, every formulator wants like 50 grand to build you a drink. I was like, no. We're not doing that. Because originally the plan was just to like white label Monster or something like that. And just make it as a novelty item. I thought it'd be super simple. Dude, it was the world's hardest thing. So then I was like, all right, man, go find I said, I'm carving out whatever, 20, 25 grand. I'm carving it out. Go find a formulator. Every formulator wanted some stupid number. He goes, hey man, there's this dude, the LA Fitness up the street from me. Says he can formulate it. I'm like,
LA Fitness. Maybe if it was Vasa, but
yeah, I was like, all right, bro. So we take a ride up there. The guy's running this juice bar. This dude's, you can tell he's older. He's jacked, bro. I mean, jacked. And I was like, okay, guy looks the part. Thank God. And so he starts talking, and immediately I could tell this guy's insanely smart. And I was like, yeah, dude. So how much? And he's like, I'll formulate it for $6 grand. And I was like, everybody else wants 50, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know, dude. So whatever. I went home. I thought about it. Talked to my business partner, and we're like, dude, just go do it. If it's a flop, at least we only lost $6 grand and not 20 grand. So, dude, sure as shit. Turns out the guy had a gigantic brand in the early 2000s. Sold it off. Had some family issues. And he was just kind of working at this LA Fitness juice bar because he just wanted something to do, and he thought he would open a juice bar in all 700 locations. Like he had the massive scale.
Yeah,
he's funny. Like, dude, he's like, I'll do this, and he needed some extra money. And I was like, all right, great. So we utilized him, and then he gave us a lot of good ideas. We sold out on the first run, but I think my learning lessons, this is a really long way to tell you learning lessons, is I trusted him, right? Because it's like, I'm out of my comfort zone. I think early on, you need the grit and determination and the balls to go do stuff, but you also need to be able to rely on people.
Yeah.
And when I heard this guy's experience, I said, all right, man, what do you think should be the next steps? He's like, you need to do this, this, and this. I was like, okay. did all those things, came back. Hey man, we sold out in 4 weeks. Now what? He's like, well, how can I be a partner?
Yeah.
I said, okay, let's have conversations. And he's come on and he's motivated us to do things. And I think that's really the learning lessons is before I would have just ran into this wall over and over and over again to figure it out. Now it's like, you have experience, let me execute.
Yeah, 1,000%, dude. And I absolutely love that because I feel like, to your point, when you build a business, you also learn that skill set of, to your point, trusting people, trusting the right people to really compress time, right?
Correct.
Because you go, you can go fast alone, but you can go far together, but you can actually go a lot faster together too.
Yep.
And like, that's like been my experience. And that's exactly what
well, it's hard to let go. But what's funny is in the fire department, you have no micromanagers. You have a set plan of SOPs and you have a supervisor. And it's like, well, wait a second, I should just be the supervisor and we should have the playbook set.
Yeah.
Right? It's like no different than sports. There's a play set. This building's on fire. I know exactly what to do.
Yeah.
So knowing that he had a playbook that we could utilize and execute on, it's like, okay, well, it might be dated, but I'll take some of your plays.
Yeah.
And we bump heads on some stuff. I've told you about them and I told Danny about them. Is like, listen, I think DTC is a big piece of our brand and he thinks that we should go into retail sooner. But I also asked him, I said, what's the number one mistake you made last go around? He's like, I didn't go into retail fast enough. So we're spending a heavy concentration. Boom, 1,000 stores. I'm like, holy shit. Like, how are we getting 1,000 stores? Let's go, So.
Well, and I love it, dude. And you genuinely deserve all the success that you've built up to this point. And dude, this has been a wealth of knowledge. Like, I feel like my favorite sit downs are the ones that go like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like we could be here all day.
Oh, I thought we just got started.
Dude, that's what I'm saying, dude. And that's how you know it's good. See, you know it's good is when, you can really look up and the time's gone. But with this being the No Rescue podcast, this is really the last question that I like to ask all of my guests, right? And you've been a wealth of knowledge up to this point with mindset, with trusting people, with everything. But one of the things that we like to highlight here really is those moments when you realize nobody's coming to save you, right? And for that entrepreneur that's in the thick of it, first time building his business, he feels like nobody's coming to rescue him. What are you telling him? What are you telling them? What's your one piece of advice based on all the knowledge that you've built building these businesses?
That's a deep one because I'm like going through the playbook of like every time that I've been standing there going, hey man, like what's going on?
Yeah.
But I would say that you should trust yourself, that you probably have enough knowledge or you have a good enough network to get the knowledge that you need to go out and execute it, right? And I think we all, whatever you want to call it, your hands, your brain, your whatever, we have the tools that you need to go out and execute it. If, you can't make payroll and you got to go raise money, go figure it out. If you got a building that's burning down, well, guess what? There's nothing you can really do and call the insurance company and it's going to work out, right? Like, you know what you have to do. You might not want to own up to it and go, oh, that was us, right? And we need to internalize it. You need to take accountability for yourself. You need to step up, sack up, and go do what you need to do.
Yeah.
And you have the knowledge.
Yeah. I love it, brother. Well, Ian, this has been a pleasure. You're one of my oldest friends in entrepreneurship. I feel like when I met you is right when the journey started. And here we are. And likewise, right? I've loved seeing you and your journey of everything because when we first met, I think you were still a firefighter.
I was still a fireman. And I maybe just starting to dabble into some. I bought the 76 unit apartment building. I know that for a fact. And then we were just getting into storage, I think, when we met.
Yeah. And it's been a pleasure just watching you build and grow. And you've been a great friend to me as I've been able to grow my business. And we're going to keep going and building big things. So I appreciate your time. Thanks for being here. The last thing that we have everybody do is you got to sign the wall behind us, brother.
I will definitely sign the wall, and you'll know exactly what it says. Game on.
I love it, brother. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, brother. See you.
Sponsored by Prado. Flavored protein. Not protein flavored. Discover our 20+ luxury flavors at protoshop.com.